If you're one of those people that love Jamaican oxtail and especially you love oxtail gravy and you just don't know how to make oxtail, please continue watching my video so I can show you how to make this delicious Jamaican oxtail recipe. Trust me, you will not regret it. Wagwan people, so today we're going to be making some Jamaican oxtail. And you know, everybody love oxtail already. So, you know, when you go to the Jamaican restaurant, everybody want to ask for more oxtail gravy. But so learn how to make it yourself so you don't have to pay money for oxtail gravy. Come on. So I have some oxtail right here, and this is already pre-washed with vinegar and water. So you just want to do this every time you have any type of meat. Always wash your meat. So don't forget this step. So I already pre-washed it, so I'm not gonna show you in this video of me washing the meat. I've done that in numerous videos. But if you want to see it again, I'll definitely show you. So right now I'm just cutting off the fat. So you know an oxtail comes with fat and you want to cut off some of the fat. You don't want to cut off all of the fat because the fat is also going to help it during the cooking process and you don't want no dry meat. So you need some little bit of fats but cut off, you know, some of the fat because there's sometimes if you don't do it then you're going to have just a thick skin of fat that you're going to be eating and you don't really want that in your body and to clog all those arteries. No, we don't want that. So just take off the fat and we're going to move on to the next so step. Now that we washed the chicken and cleaned the fat, the next step we're going to do is just cut up all the vegetables that we're going to want to season our oxtail with. So we're going to use about two scallions and we're just gonna cut that up fine, or you can, if you don't want to cut it up the way I'm cutting it up, you can cut it up in like three pieces. This is definitely an optional step. So after that we're going to put all the scallions in the bowl and we're gonna add some thyme. Next you're gonna add about 3 to 4 sprigs of thyme, and as a disclaimer, all my vegetables are already pre-washed with water. You can see that there's water on it, you know, so I already washed it. So make sure you wash your vegetables too. So for this, we're just gonna cut up the bell peppers and put that in as well. And you know, cutting up the bell peppers is definitely you don't have to cut it up the way I cut it up. You can cut it up lengthwise and stuff like that. So next we're going to use about a half a Scotch bonnet pepper, including the seeds. So, you know, you don't if you don't like pepper, don't use the seeds. Just use the skin of the Scotch bonnet pepper. So then we're going to get about one tomato and we're going to cut that in half and cut it up in about small to medium sized pieces. So after that, we're going to get some onion and we're just going to use half of that onion. So we're just going to cut it in half, peel it, and we're going to cut it up as well. So the way I'm cutting up the vegetables is optional way. You don't have to cut it up the way I'm cutting it up, but you're just gonna don't want to leave it in any big chunky pieces because that's not how we want our the vegetables in this recipe. So then I'm just going to use some garlic, and you can use the minced garlic or you can use the fresh whole garlic. And when you use the fresh whole garlic, you're just going to want to cut it up as well. And we're just going to use some pimento seeds as well. So now we're going to season our meat. So like I say in all my videos, this is all the seasoning is all dependent on how much you're making. So we're just going to add a little bit of everything. So we're going to add a little bit of the adobo, a little bit of the chicken and poultry season, a little bit of the Larry seasoning salt, a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of paprika, and a little bit of black pepper. So we're just going to add a little bit of everything. So next, we're just gonna add a little bit of browning as well. You don't want to add too much browning at a time because browning can make your oxtail bitter when you're gonna fry it. So you don't want to add too much browning. And I also added about 1 tablespoon of ketchup, which I forgot to film, but I did add that. And you're just gonna want to mix this up, and after you mix it up, you're gonna leave it in the fridge overnight, or you could leave it in the fridge a couple hours, or you can just so
Cook it
now
straight
that
up.
our meat is well seasoned and well marinated, we're just gonna get whatever pot we're gonna use to cook this oxtail in. So we're gonna add about 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil, and we're just gonna fry our oxtail. So we're going to wanna put the oxtail in a pot without the vegetables that is in the pot. So you're trying to take off everything because we're not gonna add that yet. And we're just gonna wanna fry the oxtail until the oxtail is brown on each side, and then we're gonna take it off. We don't want it to burn or anything like that. We just want it to get brown and get some nice color on it. And guys, please don't get at me about my pot. This I've had this pot for so many years, and if you know Jamaicans, they like to cook with Dutch pot, and the pot is clean, okay? And Spanish people they call this calderon, or but we call it Dutch pot. But Dutch pot is the best way to go if you want to make some good oxtail. So get yourself a Dutch pot, or the glazed Dutch oven pot, or whatever you want to
So
cook it with.
now
Now it's been about a minute or less than a minute, and we're just going to turn the pot over. And I forgot to tell you, I do have the flame on medium. So we're just going to turn it over, and this is the color that we want it. Please don't make it any darker than this. Please don't burn it. We do have a little bit of browning, so browning can burn if you have too much. So do not burn it. Get this color, then after you get this color, then we're just gonna remove it from the pot and fry the rest of the oxtail. So right here, I'm just showing you how the rest of the oxtails look, and I got some good color on it. So I'm just gonna remove it from the pot. And as you can see, that the pot is definitely has some burnt pieces a little from some of the remnants of the oxtail drippings and some of the vegetables that was in the pot. So I'm just gonna remove everything. So next, I'm just gonna take some of this oil, and I'm just gonna pour it into the pot, that the container that we have the oxtail in after we fry it. So I'm just gonna add some oil because the oil does have some flavor. And after I add some of the oil, then I'm just going to wash the rest of this pot before I so start. Now that the pot is washed and is clean, then we're just gonna put the heat back on medium. And after you put the heat back on medium, then we're just going to pour all of this goodness inside the pot. And that same container that we had the meat and we had everything seasoning in, we're just gonna add some water to that container, and we're gonna pour all that water all over the pot. And this step is key because that pot have a whole bunch of flavor in it. So you do not want to just add fresh water and don't utilize all that flavor that's in the pot. That's just gonna be a waste, and you just don't want to do that. This is definitely a key step. So at this point, I'm just tasting some of the water and mixing everything together, and I see that it needs some seasoning. So I'm just gonna add some seasoning inside. So I'm just gonna add some adobo and some Larry seasoning salt, and you're just gonna add a little bit of this because remember, throughout the cooking process, we're gonna be tasting and making sure that all the flavors are blended together. So, like I say in all my videos, you're always gonna want to taste, taste, taste as you go along. If you don't taste, your food now gonna taste good, and we don't want that. Okay, so just taste and add some seasoning until you get the flavor that you want, because you don't want it to be too fresh or you don't want it to be too salty. You just want a nice balance. So it's been about 1 hour since we've put all the oxtail in the pot, and this is just how it's looking at this point in the cooking process. So right now I'm just tasting it to see how the flavors are looking, and the flavors are fine at this point. And I'm just gonna show you that the meat is tough, tough, tough plus tax. My gosh. So The meat is still tough, so we're still gonna have to cook it. You don't want to have some tough meat, you're gonna want to cook it until the meat is soft and nice. And I see that the gravy did deplete a little, so I'm just adding a little bit more water into the pot. And then after I add more water into the pot, I'm just tasting it again because you did dilute all those flavor. So I'm just gonna taste it, and I see that it need just a little bit of some more seasoning. So I just added some seasoning salt to it, and after I add the seasoning salt, then I'm just gonna taste it to see if it needs more, but it didn't. So we're just gonna cover the pot for another So now at this point, it's been a total of 2 hours into the cooking process. 2 hours, and this is how it's looking. And the gravy did deplete a little bit, and guess what? It looks good, but guess what? The meat's still tough. Oh, I forgot how tough oxtail can be. But at this point, we're just gonna add some more water to the pot and mix it up and cover it for another hour. But if you don't want to wait this long, at this point, you can use a pressure cooker for about So 20 now we're at the 3 hour mark into this oxtail cooking process. And thank God it's looking better. There's a light at the end of the tunnel with cooking oxtail. You love the gravy, but you have to learn how to love make the food too. So it's looking good. The meat is softer. I'm just adding a little bit more water because you can see that um, the gravy did deplete a lot. So now that the meat is softer, then we're just gonna add some butter at this point. And I'm using a salted butter, but please use unsalted butter. I didn't have any more unsalted butter. And then next, we're just gonna add the butter bean at this time. We're gonna drain the butter bean and we're gonna add the butter bean and mix everything up. And then after you mix everything up, cover it for about 15 minutes. So it's been about 10 to 15 minutes since we've added the butter bean, and the oxtail is finished. And look at this nice goodness. Like, come on, like you want eat oxtail? Try learn how to make the oxtail and watch my video and learn properly how to make some Jamaican oxtail. So this is how it's looking. We have some nice gravy. We don't have a whole bunch of oil into the pot, which is good because we don't want to eat a whole bunch of oil. And the gravy is looking nice and thick. And like I say, the when you leave it, it's gonna even get thicker than this. So you're just gonna want to make sure you have enough gravy because everybody love the oxtail gravy. You have to know make it so you have enough gravy for your rice and peas. So this is how it's looking.